So here I am in my project, and I will move on to my track progress bar, or I don't know what to call it, but we're moving there. Click on the top left, and here is the whole project arrangement. We have to take into note that GarageBand Mobile cannot fit too many tracks in one project, so there's a limit to it, so we can't add too many. So we have to make sure that you don't reach the cap and still make the most out of it without exceeding the cap for the track limit. So I'll start off with the chords for this track. So I just use a very basic chord arrangement for this. It sounds very harsh. Layered it a bit, a very basic chord arrangement. And after layering, sounds something like this. It sounds very odd and not very nice, kind of harsh as well. We're on GarageBand, so we can't do much. But for the chords, it's a very basic arrangement. Just split it a little bit, and yes, that is our chords for this track. And for the next part, I'm going to be talking to you about the drums. For the drums, I personally am very bad at drum programming and drums in general, so I took advantage of the drummer feature given in Apple GarageBand. So just use a preset and customize it a little bit so it's suitable for your genre. Like for example, for dubstep and future bass, you can just use the dubstep drummer and etc. So here I just used the dubstep drummer, and I added a loop from the Apple loops as future bass loop and an atmospheric beat to create this atmosphere, and together they sound, this sounds like this. And the future bass and the atmospheric beats so when all three combined, it sounds something like that. Now for the bass, I did it very simply by copying the two bass notes from the chords and using the same note arrangement and lowering it by an octave, and then I layered it, and I made another sub bass with even lower octave. So a very simple bass line, and when layered with the sub bass and everything else, so all the elements in this track sound a little bit quirky and a little bit out of place, but when put together it sounds a little bit better. So sometimes some things may sound a little off in the track. And for the next part is the lead, or the main melody. So for the main melody, I used a vocal sample and with a very simple and repetitive note arrangement. So for this vocal sample, it looks something like this, the note arrangement. if you might be wondering how I got the sample for GarageBand Mobile, I didn't use anything external. I only used things inside of this GarageBand Mobile, and I actually got an Apple loop with like a vocal sample in it. I forgot it was something about pitchforks or something, and then you have to cut it so that it's just one voice, so one screen or screen, and then you have to pitch it down to C, something like this. You have to pitch it down to C and then record it as a sample in a very good environment and cut it. I will explain it in another video. It's a very cool trick, and if you can use it, it can be used for other things as well. It can be even used in other workstations. It's a very useful trick because I figured they do have very good samples in GarageBand Apple loops. And moving on from the lead, we have the counter melody, which is also an Apple loop. It's just MIDI. I dragged it and dropped it. That's how it sounds. And then we have this sort of click for future bass. I just recorded it straight away. I didn't draw the notes like the other ones. In GarageBand, most of the times it's safer to draw the notes. And this is for the atmosphere. It's very, very simple. And I copied and pasted onto sounds something like this. And then an atmosphere sample for grasslands to add a little bit of spice. There you go. And that's pretty much it for the drop. And then we have the break, where I just copied and pasted the same chords and just changed the note arrangement a little bit. And I use an arpeggiator for this. Combined with the same drum sample loop. But change settings. And that's it. And for the second part of the break, I added something to add a bit of variation. Like the counter melody. And I added a more simple drummer. Last time I used a preset, but this time I went completely custom so that the drum is very subtle and it's not very loud or complex. Yeah, and that pretty much sums up for the break. And I added a few more elements from the drop to the break, so it creates like a rising feeling. And of course the risers and a little bit of automation from the FX. And the track sound. that's pretty much it for the arrangement. I hope you enjoyed, and maybe we'll get into the sound design, the mixing and mastering, and the other elements of the track in the next episode. So I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, this was me, and goodbye.